This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Jack Smith is as busy as a beaver, not just content with having the first indictment of a former president in our history for the Espionage Act and obstruction of justice and everything else related to Mar-a-Lago. He's got current ongoing criminal investigations being conducted in other grand juries led by other members of his team. And now the focus returns to the fake elector scandal. You know, those certificates prepared by those rogue people, not really the electors for each of those 7 states, that sign some sort of piece of paper with a wax seal and some sort of quill pen, not at the state capitol, but kind of adjacent to the state capitol, and then try to just mail them into the National Archive or deliver them to Congress, hoping that Mike Pence would recognize them and give the election, steal it from Joe Biden and give it to Donald Trump. Remember that? Jack Smith remembers that. And now he's given limited immunity, not full immunity, but limited immunity to at least half a dozen of the people that were involved with the fake elector scandal. Remember, that was something that was developed by John Eastman, Peter Navarro, ultimately Donald Trump, executed by Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Lynn Wood, those lawyers, all of that. Well, he's finally got at least 2 major people in Nevada to flip, that being the head of the Nevada Republican Party, Michael McDonald, not that Michael McDonald for music fans, and his cohort or co-chairman, co-vice chairman, Jim DeGraffenreid. Now, we talked about them on Hot Takes just like this one on the MeidasTouch Network and on our Legal AF podcast, that these 2 guys were being subpoenaed by the Department of Justice. What we didn't know is whether they were going to take the Fifth Amendment, right? Take a walk down Fifth Avenue, as we like to say in the business, or they were going to be given some sort of immunity. Now it's out. Cat's out of the bag. I don't know why the cat was ever in the bag, but that is a phrase. And they were given limited immunity, meaning it's usually referred to as transactional immunity. It's immunity where if they stay on the well-trod path and they don't F up and they tell the truth and they cooperate with the government, what they say there cannot be used against them in independent investigations. If there's evidence that's developed independently from what they're testifying to the grand jury, that's fair game. But they can't have their own words used against them. And apparently, both Mr. McDonald and Mr. DeGraffenreid, sorry about that, have been given what we used to call queen for a day passes to talk to the grand jury and not have to exercise their Fifth Amendment right and testify about what was going on with those the battleground in Nevada and the use of fake elector certificates, because these 2 guys were part of the fake electors. They went to Carson City, Nevada, filled out some certificates, hoped and prayed they could get the Secretary of State to go along with it in that state, and she said no. She certified the election properly for Joe Biden. Why? Because Joe Biden won Nevada. And this is also part of, you might be thinking, well, isn't Fani Willis doing the same thing in Georgia? She is. She's a state prosecutor. She's looking at Georgia fake electors, but she's also, it's been reported, she's expanded her investigation because she's right. It's all connected. They couldn't just try to steal Georgia. These MAGA Republicans led by Trump were trying to steal the other battleground states because he had to get at least 5 of them in order to steal the presidency from Joe Biden. One wasn't enough. It's like one of these mad Avenger or Marvel movies where the bad guy has to get, like all 7 jewels in order for the, I don't know, the movie to get renewed and there be a sequel. But in this case, they needed to get those 7, or at least 5 of the 7 battleground states to go Trump's direction, or he's dead loser. And so it is a more overarching conspiracy. Fani Willis is right, as always. But Jack Smith is looking at it too. And we'll see. It's going to be a race to see who indicts first. If he gets out of the chute first, he's already gotten the Mar-a-Lago one out the door. Jack Smith gets the fake electors indictment out the door. Fani Willis can still get her indictment at the end of July, beginning of August. But she's going to take a back seat to the federal government. That's just how it works. There's supremacy issues, and she would have indicted second or third anyway. So she's going to have to sit tight. Just like Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, in her civil fraud case, is probably going to have to delay her case while these trials get set.
Let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, ZBiotics. Now, if you're like me, you've probably skipped a workout because of drinks the night before. Like, it happens. But if you're committed to your healthy routine, you need ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. Just remember to drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Now, I can't lie, after we hit 1 million subscribers, I may have partied a little bit too much that night. But luckily, I knew I had ZBiotics. Now, as instructed, I drank a bottle of ZBiotics before any alcohol, and I was amazed at just how good I felt the next day. Give ZBiotics a try for yourself. Go to zbiotics.com/legalaf to get 15% off your first order when you use LegalAF at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So remember, head to zbiotics.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this episode.
I mean, we've got 2 trials of Donald Trump already set on the calendar. One is hard, the other one is really soft. The hard one is in March 24th of 2024, Donald Trump's going to trial in New York. I don't think it's going to be preempted by the federal government. In other words, I don't think it's going to be delayed because of the federal indictments. That one's going to go, I predict, related to the Stormy Daniels hush money cover-up affair and 34 counts of business record fraud against Donald Trump. Also on the books, you may have heard, is this sort of control date, hold date, like a wedding or an event where the judge sent out a hold the date. We're getting an indictment and a jury trial against Donald Trump. And she just threw a dart and said, oh, that's about 70 days out for the speedy trial requirements in the state, the federal part of the state, and boop, and we'll say August 14th. It's a perfectly nice date. It's sufficiently far enough away that it complies with the law. But even today, we just learned that Jack Smith doesn't think that date can hold because there's top secret information, CIPA information. The other side has to get security clearance. It takes a minute. It takes a minute to sift through what Jack Smith has disclosed is up to 84 witnesses and transcripts and get all through that. So he picked a date, as we predicted on Legal AF. And it was at the end of this year, December. He said, well, August's a little tight. Let's do December. I think I said on Legal AF it was either going to be the end of the year or the first quarter, but it was going to be a very fast trial that he was going to be looking for as well. So pull us all together. New indictments are coming related to the fake electors. He's pretty close if he's gotten these people with limited immunity to testify on his behalf against Donald Trump in grand juries, while other grand juries are still going in the federal side with Jack Smith, including the fundraising, the fraudulent fundraising, and the messaging that was used to raise money for Donald Trump on the big lie, on the back of the big lie. That's still out there. So there are a multiple, and the main heart of one, like the hub of the wheel. Donald Trump's involvement in leadership and mastermind of the entire Jan 6th attempted coup and overthrow of the U.S. government and of democracy. That's still with a grand jury. But these things are rapidly, these are like pots on a stove that are rapidly coming to a boil. They really are. And for those that said, no, he's not moving fast enough, he's only been in his position 7 months. You can fault Merrick Garland for the year prior to that. But Jack Smith issued 4 subpoenas the very first day he was appointed. He has not rested ever since. That's all he's been doing is chopping wood. Chop, 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 piling up. Next day, chop, 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 chop. Grabbing his lunch pail, or as he was walking across a week or so ago, he saw our first glimpse of Jack Smith heading to court, had a Subway sandwich. I mean, this is lunch pail. This is lunch pail stuff, blue collar stuff. I love it. He's just a prosecutor doing his job. right? And to a prosecutor who was a hammer, everybody's a nail. And that's where Donald Trump is right now. He's got a lot of hammers banging away on his nail until that sucker goes in. And we'll follow it on hot takes just like this one, only on the MeidasTouch Network. And if you like the work that we're doing, there's also a podcast, full length, long format. Goes about an hour on Wednesdays and Saturdays, also only on the MeidasTouch Network, called Legal AF, that I co-anchor on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You can leave a comment here on this hot take. You can give me a thumbs up, helps with the quality and quantity of what we provide. If you like what I'm doing, I'm Michael Popok. You can follow me on all things social media at MS Popok. This is Michael Popok, Legal AF reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.